Hello and welcome back to your mat. Today we're going to do a reflective class, and we're going to do that through some grounding postures and also some forward folds. We're going to be reflecting on the past year. So a lot of times when we think about the past year, we think about from a negative perspective what we did not accomplish, what we wish we had accomplished, our failures. But for today's class, I want you to focus on the positive. So I want you to focus on your wins for the year and your accomplishments. Really look at things that you did do. Don't worry about things you didn't do. Let's focus on what we did do. So today you might need 2 blocks for today's class. Those will be handy to have nearby or something like that. And we'll start with a quote by Rick Warren. "We are products of our past, but we don't have to be prisoners of it." So that's a quote. It's by Rick Warren. So just remember that. We are products of our past, but we don't have to be prisoners of it. So we're going to get started standing. And again, throughout today's class, I want you to reflect back on your wins and your accomplishments over the last year. So really be thinking about that, and I'll give you some space to do that. So we're going to start standing at the top of our mat. You can have your mat, you can have your blocks at the top of your mat just ready in case you need them. So we're going to go ahead and stand in mountain pose for just a moment and arrive here. And we're going to go ahead and do a nice forward fold here. So go ahead and hinge forward at your hips and come into a nice forward fold. So really let your body dangle here, let everything go. You can rock back and forth a bit, move around a little bit. You can have a bend on your knees as much as you like, whatever feels good for you. So come into a nice forward bend here. And this, we're turning inward, and so we're going to turn inward on ourselves for a moment and just think about, pick one win that comes to mind right now off the top of your head for this year. What was something that you did great, that you accomplished, that was a highlight maybe of your year, something you could think of, and hold on to that for a moment. And then while you're thinking about that, we're going to do a twist. So go ahead and bend your right knee deeply. And then you're going to bring your left hand down on the mat in front of you, or it can be on a block, so whatever works best for you here. And then you're just going to twist your body, bring your right hand up to your sacrum, to your top of your pelvis, and just twist your body to the right. So just reflect on that thing. Maybe it was a trip you took. Maybe it was you finally wrote that book you've always wanted to write. Whatever it might be. It can be a small win. It could be a big win. Just a big highlight, or even a small highlight from your year, to give you a little reflection here. And exhale and let that go. And now go to the other side. So go ahead and bend deeply on your left knee. Place your right hand directly underneath of you in front. And go ahead and bring that left hand to your sacrum and twist to the left. And you really should feel a nice opening here in your hamstring. Breathe in here for a moment. And then go ahead and come back to center and release back in that nice forward fold. Sway your hips if you want, move around from side to side, have a bend in your knee, whatever it takes to feel good here in your nice forward fold. And then rise all the way up, rolling up one vertebrae at a time, come all the way back up to the top into mountain pose. And now we're just going to do twisting mountain. I'm going to turn to this side so you can see me. So we're just going to do a little twisting here. Just really bringing some movement into the body and twisting back and forth here. And again, we're going to celebrate our wins in today's reflective class. So a lot of times, especially toward the end of the year, we start to think about, there's so much I didn't get done, and I've only got another month left, or whatever, how much ever time is left in the year when you're doing this. So I would rather you think about, sure, there are things that we didn't accomplish, that's fine, but what about all those things that we did? We often forget those. So just throughout today's class, remember that. All right, and then come on back, stay on the top of your mat, and this is where you might need your blocks. We're going to step the right foot back, we're going to come into pyramid pose. So I've just got my right leg off to an angle here, back, and I don't have a wide stance here, or a long stance. I have a shorter stance here. So we're going to have both of our legs are going to be straight, and the blocks are very handy here because especially if you have tight hamstrings. So you're going to look out in front of you, and you can bring your hands to the ground if you're fine with that. But you're going to try to have a nice, fairly straight back here looking out in front of you, and then we're going to exhale and fold in. Again, we're forward folding. So this is to come into ourselves, to look inside. And if you find that I'm asking you to look at your wins for the year and you're really still hung up on the negative things or the things that you did not accomplish, or maybe some of your failures for the year, maybe if you need to think about those and you just can't let those go, then look at them, breathing here, of course, look at them from the lens of, are any of those things you didn't accomplish, are they something you should let go of? Maybe they're no longer important to you, because sometimes it's just a matter of reevaluating our goals. So think about that when there's something you didn't accomplish. And inhale, and go ahead and step back up. And we'll go ahead and come into mountain again. So stand all the way up and bring your arms into cactus shape. So they'll be like a goalpost. And we're going to do just a slight back bend here. So just bring that chest open as if you were bringing your whole body over, like maybe like a beach ball, or if there was like a bar here you were coming over. So we don't need a deep back bend. We're just really opening the chest to kind of counteract the forward folding that we're doing. And then we're going to step back with the left foot and come into pyramid pose again. So we're going to bring that left foot back, shorten our stance. Inhale and look forward, and exhale and fold in. So throughout today's class, also think about those things. Maybe there are things that you did not accomplish and you're beating yourself up over it a bit. Look at those things. Are they things that you want to, is it something you need to do? Is it something that needs to be in your life? Or is it something maybe it's time to let go of that thing? Just notice. Breathing here, really feeling that hamstring opening there. And then inhale and go ahead and step forward on your mat, and we'll come back into that mountain pose. Stand all the way up, arms in cactus shape, and give yourself that nice big back bend, opening the chest. Have a little curve here in your lower back. Don't overdo it. And then come back to your regular mountain pose. And now from here, we're going to come into pigeon pose. If pigeon does not work for you, go ahead and go onto your back and you'll come into figure 4. Okay, so if pigeon works for you, you're going to go and bring your right leg forward in a nice bend here. Bend it forward so that your right knee is off to the right side of your edge of your mat, and your back left leg is behind you. If this doesn't work for you, come into figure 4 on your back. You'll just bring your right foot on your left knee, thread your hands through, and pull your legs in. Very similar to pigeon pose, but better on the knees for those the pigeon doesn't work for. So go ahead and settle into your pigeon. You might be more upright. You can always use a block to set up on here. Or if you're able to settle on down, come on, settle on down. And then come on down to your forearms. And I really want you to settle into this pose for just a moment. And while we're here, we're going to have another reflection moment here. So again, we've already come up with one highlight from our day, from our year. Think of another one. And this could be work related, it could be family related, it could be friendship related, it could be maybe a new hobby you tried, maybe a new skill set you achieved, maybe just a new goal that you had for this year that you achieved. Whatever that might be, reflect on it for a moment and really feel that pause, how that makes you feel knowing that you did that. So breathe here in this nice pigeon pose. And I'll hold this for just a few more minutes. Really breathing here. And notice how you feel. A lot of times we can have tension in our hips. So this is a nice way to release that tension in the hips. And then inhale and come back up and go ahead and roll over to your right side and then swing that right leg around. For those of you on your back, you're going to come on up and join us for this next pose. So we're going to swing our legs around. We're going to come into bound angle pose. So go ahead and you can decide if you want to be more like a diamond shape or if you want your heels to be in closer. Decide what works best for you. And right now we're going to open up for a moment. So just open up the chest, arch that lower back, You counteract that forward fold. And then we're going to exhale and hinge forward any amount. If your knees are really far up, then stay upright. You can have your hands to the sides. Otherwise, go ahead and fold forward. And breathing here. And then inhale, come up. And now we're going to come into pigeon on the other side. Now you can always do the figure 4 on your back for this other side. So decide which variation is best for you. If you're doing pigeon, go ahead and bring that left leg forward. Your left knee will be up in the left corner. And your right leg will be out behind you and stretch out long. Find your spot here in pigeon. And then come on down to your forearms. If you're in figure 4, you're on your back. And your left foot is on your right knee. And you're going to hug your legs into your chest as much as you'd like. So while you're here, I want you to think about and congratulate yourself on the things that you have accomplished. And sometimes it's harder for us to think about things earlier in the year, but if you can, try to go back to the first 6 months of the year. It was probably easy to think of wins in the last 6 months or even the last few months because that's fresh in your mind. What about in February? What about earlier in the year in the spring? What was a win that you can remember? And look back in that and congratulate yourself. Feel that accomplishment. See how that makes you feel. Make sure you breathe here. Release down into the mat. You want your hips to be square to the mat so you're not off kilter one way or the other too much. You're mostly balanced here. Another couple of breaths here. Just releasing and letting go into the mat. Feeling your body grounding into the mat. Feeling the mat and the earth below you, helping to support you. And then go ahead and swing that right leg around. And now we're going to come into a seated twist. So you have two options here. You can either just come into a simple cross-legged seated twist. If you're on your back, go ahead and join us also. Or you can fold that the left knee underneath of you so that your left foot is next to your right hip. And then you can bring that right foot over the left. So pick the variation that works best for you, whether that's going to be seated, regular seated cross-legged, or the right leg over the left. So your left foot is next to your right hip. Sit up nice and tall here, and then go ahead and twist your body around to the right. And I've got my elbow kind of linking in here with my knee. Sit up tall here. If you're in just a simple cross-legged twist, your left hand is on your right knee and your right arm is behind you. Your right arm is behind you regardless. But you get the idea. You're going to be in a little different position, but you're still getting a twist. So pick what works best for you, not what you think you should do or which one seems more challenging. Breathe there for a moment. Exhale. Go ahead and switch your legs out in front of you for just a moment just to kind of let that go. So you can give them a little shake there and then go ahead and do the other side. So now you can have the other leg in front, or you can have your right knee is bent underneath of you, and that way your right foot is next to your left hip. And go ahead and step that left foot over. So whichever one you want, pick one. Sit up tall, and now twist to the left. So now your left hand is behind you, and you're looking out to the left. And in my case, I'm looking at a beautiful lake. There's some wind that's coming in, so the weather's starting to change a bit here. So I'm glad I started recording when I did. So breathe there, nice tall spine. And then exhale and come back to center. And now you have two options. You can either lie back in Shavasana, so lie back, have your legs outstretched, your arms outstretched to the sides, or you can come up to a nice seated seat here. Find a comfortable seat. You could sit up on a block if you'd like. And we're just going to take a moment here in a nice, quiet, either meditation or Shavasana. And we're not going to do a formal meditation. It's just going to be, we're going to close our eyes in Shavasana or seated and just notice how you feel. And again, I want you to congratulate yourself on your wins for this year, because you've definitely had some wins, even if sometimes you have to dig deep to find them. Close your eyes wherever you are, either lying down or seated, and notice your breath. Notice how you feel. When you think about your wins, does it put a smile on your face? Do you find yourself going right to the things that you didn't do and wishing you had? And that's okay. It's normal to do that. But remember that sometimes those things, maybe we need to let those go. Maybe they were not meant for us to do. So let's concentrate on those wins, the positives. Stay here for a few more breaths, eyes closed. And when you feel ready, open your eyes. If you're lying down, go ahead and hug your knees into your chest, roll over to one side, and come back up to a seated position and join me here to end class. I highly recommend, if you have a notebook or a piece of paper handy, or maybe you like to use your computer, write down your wins. What came to mind during this practice? Write them down so that you have them to reflect on any time that maybe you're feeling down about something or down about not accomplishing something. Always remember, there's always wins that we can celebrate. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this class, this nice reflective class, looking back at the past year. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a great day.